102b. I read a book of this of short stories, and the editor at the beginning, he writes that he collected these stories from 2,000 stories. So he said that in between he had to do something, he had to drink a cup of tea in between each story. So he says 2,000 cups of tea later, now he has a collection of his 20 stories. Anyway, yeah, just the switch from the... It's supposed to be one. The whole Torah is one, right? That's what we say. We're not teaching Tanya and then Gemara. We're teaching Torah, and it's all the same, right? So we have to work on that. In the Mishnah, we learned that if someone accepts on himself to bring one type of mincha and he brings another type of mincha, it's not valid. Or if someone accepts on himself to bring a large mincha and he brings it two smaller ones, or he accepts on himself to bring two small menachos and he puts them together, so there's a problem with all of those. And sometimes there's a way out if he's able to still do the kmitza on the large one. With tzricha, the Gemara says that we need the two cases. The two general cases here are the wrong vessel, a machavas, and he brings it in a marcheshes, or he's supposed to bring the wrong size. He's supposed to bring it as one large one, and he brings it instead as two. Both are necessary. If it would only say the first case that there's a problem, because if he says that he's going to bring it in a flat pan, and he brings it in the wrong one, he brings it in a deep pan, that would be possible. You brought it in the wrong Eily. But over here, both of them are in a flat pan. What's the problem? You brought the wrong size. Both of them are in a deep pan. You brought the wrong size. Amy, will say that, look, you brought the right mincha, and you brought the right amount. You just divided it, or you put it together. So you should be yotze your vow as well. We said that the person didn't fulfill his vow. Clearly, didn't fulfill his vow. If he divided it up, so the mincha was valid, but he didn't fulfill his vow. He would say that if it would only tell us the first case, then if he divided it up, it's the wrong size, then maybe he fulfilled his vow as well. If it would say only the second case, because you divided it, that's why there's a problem. But over there you didn't divide it into two separate things. We would say that maybe it's still valid, because you brought a mincha. What's the difference? A flat pan, a deep pan, same thing. Kamash Malan, that no, it comes to teach us that it's possible as well. So tzricha, that's why it's necessary. I'm sorry, tzricha. Tana Rabbanan. The rabbis taught in a brisa. Masha hevi. What he brought is good, and yidei nidre layatza. Now, officially, this is talking about when he's supposed to bring two isarin, 2/10 of an eighth as a mincha, and instead he divides it up into two separate vessels. He brings two menachos of one each. So we said that what he brought is still considered a mincha, but he didn't fulfill his vow. Reb Shimon says that you even fulfilled your vow. Reb Shimon holds that when you put it into the vessel, that's what determines it. It's not what you said before. And so therefore, the fact that you put it into this vessel means that that's what you're bringing. Now, would this apply also to the marcheshes and machavas? Apparently, it could be, yes. There's a discussion about that. Okay, so Reb Shimon would disagree with this Mishnah, and that's what we're seeing from
It's the Maisa, basically.
I'm sorry?
It's the Maisa that counts.
It's the Maisa, right? And that's what we're seeing here. Zulahavi b'machavas. He says, I'm going to bring this in a flat pan. Chaim, you mentioned this before. I didn't see this Gemara. So, Vahatanya, excuse me, but it was taught in a brisa, like kitsham klisharis. Why can't you change it? We have a brisa that says that the klisharis doesn't sanctify it until the kmitza. See, yesterday I learned this Mishnah. I understood that you brought the whole mincha, He did the kmitza, and so it's all done. So now it's clear from the Gemara that wasn't the pshat in the Mishnah. The pshat is that you didn't do the kmitza yet. You put it into the vessel. And now we said, oh, it's too late. You already put it into the vessel. The Gemara is asking, so what? You have a Bais that says putting it into the vessel. Doesn't sanctify it, and it's not determined what it needs to be. Just switch it. Rabbi responds to this, like kitchum likarev. You're right, the Bais says that it's not completely sanctified. It's not completely sanctified to be brought, to be offered. You still need to do the kmitza. Aval kitchum lipasal, but it's still sanctified to make it invalid. So now that it's invalid, because you put it into the wrong one, now you don't have a choice. It's already pasal. That's Abaya's answer. Ve'amar Abaya. We have another statement from Abaya. Leishanu. This Mishnah was not taught only. Rather, what it means to say is it was taught. That's the Hebrew way of saying it was. It was not only. Ella, it was only taught. Shekavan b'shas neder. That the person established what type of mincha he's bringing at the time that he took the vow. Aval b'shas afrasha. But let's say he already took one vow. And he took a vow, let's say he did it generally. He took a vow, I'm going to bring a mincha. And then when he's separating the flour that he's going to bring, he says, this is going to go in the machavas. This is going to go in the marcheshes. Loi. That's nothing. That doesn't matter. Why? Brings a pasuk. Kashin adarta v'lei kasher frashta. As you vowed, not as you separated. It says the person should guard what comes out of his mouth, what comes out of his lips, and he should do what he vowed to God. It says only what he vowed, not what he separated. That means that it's the vow is where it gets determined, not what happens in the interim from the vow until it's brought. What it says by the separating, that doesn't affect the validity. Itmanami was also stated by Amiroim, Amar Avacha Bar Chanina, Amar Rabasi, Amar Rav Yochanan. Ravacha Bar Chanina says the name of Ravasi in the name of Rabbi Yochanan. Leishanu al shekavan b'shas neder. When does this affect the validity? That's only at the time of the vow. Aval b'shas afrasha loy. Exactly like we learned that at the time of separating, that doesn't determine. Kasher nedarta v'lei kasher afrashta. As he vowed and not as he separated. It's based on the pasuk. Okay. There's a new Mishnah. We mentioned this Mishnah in passing before. You'll remember it as it goes through. Ha'imar, if someone says, Harei mincha min ha'sa'irim, he says, I'm going to bring a carbon mincha from barley. Now, there is a type of mincha that comes from barley, the saita, or let's say the Ha'imar, but he wouldn't be bringing that. But there is no other mincha. If he's not a saita, if he or she is not a saita, there's no such thing as a barley mincha. So he said he accepted himself a mincha, so yavi menachitim. He has to bring it correctly. And he brings it from wheat, kamach. Let's say he says he's going to bring it from coarse flour. No, that's not how the mincha. Does he have to restate? It doesn't say. So yavi seila. He has to bring from fine flour, because that's what it's supposed to be brought. He says he's not going to bring, he's going to bring a mincha, but no oil and no frankincense. Whatever reason. Yavi shemen olavaina. He has to bring it together with oil and frankincense. Chatzi yisar. And let's say he says he's only going to bring a half a tenth of an ephah. There's no such thing. The smallest mincha is a ephah. Is a nisaran. Is a full tenth of an ephah. So yavi yisaran shalom. You have to bring a full tenth of an ephah. Yisaran umechza. This is interesting. He says he's going to bring a nisaran and a half. Now it doesn't work like that. It's supposed to be only the levels go by yisaran. So yavi shnayim, he has to bring two. See, the kids are very into that. The kids are very into it. How old are you? I'm 4.5. Right? It's like, no, I'm not only 4. I'm 4.5. So he has like, no, I'm going to bring the half. Reb Shimon Paiter. Reb Shimon says he's exempt. You didn't say the way that it's supposed to be. So everything is nothing. It's all nothing. The question would be...
If he promised 1.5, he doesn't give anything.
If he promises... That's a good question. Does he, over here, does the whole, at least the one whole, should take effect, and the half shouldn't take effect? We'll see in the Gemara at the end. Okay, the Gemara asks a question. Amai. This is what we had before. Neder upescha imai. This person took a vow, but together with the vow, he has a way out. Why? Because he clarified what he wants to do, and what he wants to do is not fitting with what the halachas are. So he could get out of this. He could always say that I never accepted to bring a carbon mincha like that. I wanted a mincha from barley. So why is he obligated to bring the correct carbon mincha? He could get out of the vow. He took a vow, it was all a mistake. He can get out of it. There's two approaches.
Shows you the importance of a vow.
Right. But there are two approaches here. Does the Gemara mean to say that he can be mater neder, he can go to a Rav and say, they'll say, I never agreed to this vow, and get out of it? Or does it mean that it's just automatically that it's not good because pischa yimei, because he has an exit. He has an exit to the vow. Amar Chizkiah from the early Amoraim in Eretz Yisrael. Hamani Beis Shammai. This is Beis Shammai. It's the opinion of Beis Shammai. The Amri Tafas Lashon Rishon, Beis Shammai says you always accept the first thing that he says, and specifically when it comes to Kodshim. The Tanan was taught in the Mishnah, as it was taught in the Mishnah. Hareini Nazir min Agregers min Adevela. If someone says, I am a Nazir from two types of figs. Now, figs is not what a Nazir is prohibited from. He's prohibited from grape products. But he says he's going to be a Nazir from figs. So Beis Shammai says he's a Nazir. Beis Hillel ain't a Nazir. Beis Hillel says he's not a Nazir. The reason for Beis Shammai is as he says the words that he is a Nazir, he becomes a Nazir. Now when he clarifies from figs, it's too late. We already got you. You said already you're and we didn't hear that second. That's awesome. That's how it works. Tavas Lashon Rishon.
Shammai would say, the minute that he says Harei Eily.
When he says Harei Eily Mincha,
and what does
it becomes a mincha.
say?
Beis Hillel says that not Tafas Lashon Rishon, Tafas Lashon Achron. You have to look at the whole thing.
So, and according to Beis Hillel, what's the limit of the lashon? If you say something and then you stop and you say it later, is that still the same lashon?
So some learn that this is a machlekes Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai. If we say Teich Kedei Dibur, Beis Hillel holds of Teich Kedei Dibur and Beis Shammai doesn't hold of Teich Kedei Dibur. That's how some of the commentaries learn. Okay, so Beis Hillel says he's not a Nazir. So we have already the opinion of Chizkiah. Chizkiah says that our Mishnah would not agree with Hillel, with Beis Hillel rather. It's only the opinion of Beis Shammai because the person accepted on himself that he's going to bring a mincha from barley. So Beis Shammai catches that, we heard a mincha, and so that's why. But according
to do Paskin like Shammai in this case, is one of the cases now.
It doesn't appear like that from the there's the Ein Mishpat. He puts his mark.
That's the law. That's the ruling.
He puts his mark where his reference to look up. He puts it on Beis Hillel. Normally the halach is like Beis Hillel anyway, but there's exceptions to that. The only thing that we need to clarify is that it's not. Chizkiah is only one interpretation of our Mishnah. Hold it. Rabbi Yochanan says Afilu Tema Beis Hillel. I can explain the Mishnah even according to Beis Hillel. It's when we asked him, that's not the correct way. He says, I didn't realize. If I wouldn't, I would have actually said it. I would have said it differently if I would have known. So here, when he says he's accepting on himself a mincha from barley, according to Beis Hillel, that really is nothing. Yes, granted it's nothing, but he went back and he said that I never would have said that. I thought that was the halacha. I thought I would have said it differently. I would have
with the figs, for example.
With the figs, he would have said no. I would have said grapes. I didn't realize. I thought they weren't allowed to eat figs. Here he said, I didn't realize that it's not supposed to be barley. I thought it was supposed to be barley. I would have said wheat. So then he's accepting it. So according to
you think Beis Hillel would agree to Beis Shammai?
no, it's a Beis Hillel would agree to this law of our Mishnah that he's accepting on himself a mincha when he actually says that I would have accepted on myself a mincha appropriately. I just didn't realize, so it was all because of a mistake.
At the end of the day, it's intent, not wording. You're saying. According to Hillel.
Is it the words or the intent? According to Beis Hillel, it's because he specified afterwards that that's not what he wanted. So then we look at the whole phrase. We don't just chop his sentence in half. That's what Beis Hillel says. Okay. But over here, we go back and we ask him, what would you have said if you would have... he said, no, I would have said it differently if I would have known the law. So the reason for Beis Hillel is because he made a mistake. If he changes that, so then it's accepting. It's because, in other words, according to Rabbi Yochanan, there's very little chiddush of our Mishnah. It's not a chiddush. The person went back and he said, no, I would have said that. Amar Chizkiah. Chizkiah then says, you see, Chizkiah was Beis Shammai's opinion. It says according to that, the Mishnah is according to Beis Shammai, that you grab the first phrase that he said and you hold on to that. Lo yishanu ela damar min mincha min asayrim. Only, this was only taught if he says that I'm accepting on myself to bring a mincha from barley. Aval amar mincha min adashim. But if he says I'm going to bring a mincha from beans or lentils, light, then it wouldn't take effect. Well, that's a very difficult statement to fit together with what he just said. Mm-hmm. He just said that you grab the first expression, which is harei alai mincha, and then what he says afterwards doesn't matter. It's too late. So why would it matter if he says min asairim or min adashim? We're not looking at what he says afterwards. The Gemara asks this. Michti, let's see. Now that Chizkiah kiman amr l'shmaiti. According to who did Chizkiah say his opinion? Ke Beis Shammai. He said it like Beis Shammai. That Beis Shammai says, Beis Shammai. What's the reason for Beis Shammai? Mishum tafas lashon rishon. You grab the first statement that he says. Tafas lashon rishon. Mali min asairim, mali min adashim. What's the difference if he says afterwards from barley or from lentils? It's all the same thing. The Gemara says Hadabei. Chizkiah changed his mind. The Mishnah is not Beis Shammai. The Mishnah is now going according to Beis Hillel. And according to Beis Hillel, what's the reason for Beis Hillel? Because we assume that he made a mistake. But really he thought that a mincha comes from barley. But he never would have thought that a mincha comes from adashim. So according to Beis Hillel, where would he make a mistake that the mincha should still be valid, but it was just his mistake? He wanted to bring a mincha, but he just didn't realize. That's only if he accepts on himself a mincha from barley. But from adashim, it's clearly a rejection of his mincha. So a rejection, so it's teichidei dibar, it would fall off. My time hadabei. What's the reason why Chizkiah changed his mind? What was wrong with the way he learned it? It seemed to fit. Beis Shammai, everything fit. Rava explains that Chizkiah had a problem with the reading of the Mishnah. It says, "My area, the Tani Mincha Menasayrim." If we're going to accept Beis Shammai's opinion, why does it need to tell me a lesser chiddush, something that's not so interesting, not such a novelty, to say that if someone accepts on himself a mincha from barley, that it's considered a mincha? Listening min adashim, according to Beis Shammai, it's even a bigger chiddush. If he accepts on himself to bring a mincha, even from lentils, it should still be a mincha because tafas lashon rishon. Elashma mina. It must be that it's only min adashim. No, only min asairim is it from barley is it a good mincha, but not min adashim. And the reason is mishum detayu, because it's a mistake.
So if the Mishnah would have said, instead of saying, if it would have said
min adashim,
adashim,
that would have been a bigger chiddush, and it would have been true according to Beis Shammai.
And
right.
And Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai would be on the same
No,
page.
Beis Shammai, no. Beis Shammai would have said that that's still a good mincha, and Beis Hillel would say clearly that it's not a good
right,
mincha.
Beis Hillel would say that it's not, but Beis Shammai would say that it's fine.
Now, according to Beis Hillel, if we would go back and say that this is what, if had I known, I would have, but we're not assuming that that's not what he would say, because that's not a mistake that someone would make. And B'sa'irim toy ba'adashim leitai. And why does it say barley? Because by barley is something that someone could mistake it. That maybe a mincha is brought from barley, but no one brings a mincha. There's no such thing. Okay. Rabbi Yochanan Amar. Rabbi Yochanan says, afilu min ha'adashim. That it's even a good mincha, even if he says from lentils. He's going to bring a mincha from lentils. So the Gemara asks, 1 second. Michti, let's see. Rabbi Yochanan Kaman Amar L'Shmaiti. Who's Rabbi Yochanan explaining the Mishnah according to? Beis Hillel. He says that it's according to Beis Hillel. Beis Hillel Mishum D'Toyu. Beis Hillel says that the reason is because of a mistake. And it's still counted. He made a mistake. He didn't realize. He, of course, would have wanted to bring a kosher mincha. He just didn't realize. B'sa'irim toy, ba'adashim leitai. But he would never make a mistake about lentils. So it doesn't fit with it. It must be a rejection. So how could Rabbi... It's interesting here that each one explains the Mishnah, and then each one says something that throws a wrench into his whole thing. Exactly what we would not expect him to say. Chizkiah says that the Mishnah is according to Beis Shammai, and then he says it doesn't matter if it's... he says that it's only Menas Ayrim, but not from Adashim. And according to Beis Shammai, it really shouldn't matter. Rabbi Yochanan says that it's according to Beis Hillel, and he says it doesn't matter, even if it's lentils, it's also a good mincha. He also is accepted on himself, but according to Beis Hillel, it's because of a mistake, it doesn't fit. So the Gemara explains, L'dvar of the Chizkiah ka'amarle. He's actually telling Chizkiah. This is a really interesting conversation, because Chizkiah just agreed to Rabbi Yochanan. And Rabbi Yochanan tells him, oh, why are you agreeing to me? Well, you had a question on what you learned? Let me tell you that question's not a real question. You could keep your opinion. That's what it sounds like. Okay. At my time, Mahajusbach. Why did you change your mind? Mishum delay katani min ha'adashim. Because the Mishnah didn't say a bigger chiddush. It didn't say because of lentils. Dilma laimi boy kamar. Maybe the Mishnah is saying a bigger chiddush. Laimi boy min ha'adashim. Not only if the person accepts on himself a mincha from lentils, and he says, I'm accepting on myself a mincha from lentils, the ikala meimar meheder hu dahadar bay, because that we could say that he's changing his mind, and when a person changes his mind, according to Beis Shammai, we don't accept it, it's too late. With tafas lashon rishon, we accept the first thing that you said, and when you change the mind afterwards, that we don't accept. But even if he says, I'm accepting on myself a mincha from barley, nami, that also, the ikala this is a bigger chiddush. The ikala mitahu de katay. He's not changing his mind. That was his original intention. You see, there's a difference. One is, what he said was completely what he meant, and then afterwards he changed his mind. So Beis Shammai says, oh, for sure, we accept the first thing. But let's say he's not changing his mind. What he's saying is, this is what he meant originally. And this is actually what he meant originally, because he made a mistake. So that I could say, it's not changing his mind. Tafas lashon rishon, even if I accept the first thing. But we now know what he meant. So we would say that maybe this is nothing. So, afilu hachi tafas lashon rishon. There's a big chiddush. That even according to Beis Shammai, we don't accept the clarification of later, and we say that no, you said mincha, we heard mincha. That's what you said. So therefore, Chizkiah doesn't need to change and say that the Mishnah fits better with Beis Hillel, because Beis Shammai has a big chiddush here, even though it doesn't say lentils, but barley is a bigger chiddush than lentils. That's Rabbi Yochanan explains to him. Amar Zeiri. Zeiri says, Lo shano eladamar mincha. Zeiri says this was only taught if the person says he accepts on himself a mincha. Aval lo yamar mincha. But if he doesn't say the word mincha, loy, then no. There's two interpretations here in Rashi and Tosfos Springs.
And what would Bais say to that?
No, we had over here Rabbi Yochanan. We had different options, Rabbi Yochanan or Chizkiah. It could be that they would agree. But there's two interpretations here. It could be that what we're saying is the option is he says mincha or he doesn't say the word mincha. If he says harei alai sairim, so then that would be nothing. But he says mincha, oh, we heard mincha, okay, we don't care how you clarified it. That we already accepted it. sounds like he's following Beis Shammai.
Right.
That's what it sounds like. In other words, he's explaining the Mishnah according to Beis Shammai. However, Rashi brings another interpretation here. That the issue is, did he say the word mincha or did he say minchas? If he says minchas, that's a minchas is called smichas in Hebrew. How do you call it? When you join, when you have two nouns together, in English you need a preposition in between, right? You have to say, you have to explain the connection between those two nouns. The book is on the table, or the book of mine, or you have to say of or something. In Hebrew, you don't need to do that. You can say two nouns together, and you just switch the letter. Instead of ending in a hey, it ends with a suf, and you add automatically the word of. So minchas would mean the mincha of barley, but because it's clear that there's a word that's following, so it can't be that he said mincha alone, because he said minchas sa'irim. We see that it's coming to, there's another, it becomes a noun phrase. That okay.
Yeah, but according to Hillel, that means he would have to break. Because his intention was to...
Right. That's. I'm not sure if we can explain this according to Beis Hillel. Yeah. It's apparently he's explaining Chizkiya's way of learning it. Yeah, that's how it comes out. According to Rashi, at least. Tosfos has a different way of learning. Okay, Yosef Rav Nachman and Kamal al-Ashmaitzer. Rav Nachman was sitting and he said over this halacha. Eisvei Rav Nachman. We learned yesterday that Rav was a student of Rav Nachman. Rav asked Rav Nachman a question. Remember in Tosfos, yesterday Tosfos mentioned that. Kamach, if a person accepts on himself flour, yavi soilas. If it's a coarse flour, kamach is coarse flour. He has to bring fine flour. Lav d'lo yamer mincha. If you look at the Mishnah doesn't say harei alai mincha min kamach. It just says kamach. And according to Zeiri, he needs to say mincha. Like the Amar Mincha. The Mishnah just shortened it because the introduction to the Mishnah says Harei alai mincha, so it just shortened the examples afterwards. 1 second. V'lei shemen olavaina yavi shemen olavaina. My lav d'lei Amar Mincha. He didn't say mincha. It says Loi Damar Mincha. Chatzi yisarin yavi yisarin shalem. If he says he accepts on himself a half an yisarin, he has to bring a full yisarin. My lav d'lei Amar Mincha. The example in the Mishnah says Loi Damar Mincha. Yachi ema seifa. We have a problem. In the end, it says yisarin amechzi yavi shnayim. If he says mincha, if all the examples include mincha, and then he says yisarin mechza, he has to bring two. Kimad amar mincha, chayv le bisarin. Once he said mincha, he accepted on himself a mincha. Now he says yisarin mechza, ki amar chatzi yisarin. Once he says the half yisarin, like klum kamar, he didn't say anything. So the Gemara is asking that if he didn't say mincha again, what does the half yisarin do? The half yisarin is nothing. Like according to Zeiri, half yisarin is nothing. In the mincha, he said mincha, so we're okay with that. So the Gemara explains, late tzricha. No, it's necessary differently. Damar harei mincha chatzi yisarin v'isarin. We've changed the words here. He says he accepts on himself a mincha of half an isarin and an isarin. Instead of 1.5, he says a half and 1. Okay, so the kivan damar mincha. Once he says mincha, okay, yichayv le bisarin. Ki amar chatzi isarin v'lei klum kamar. When he says a half isarin, okay, granted, that's nothing. But ki hadar isarin, ma'is isarin achrina. Then he has to bring another one. Yihachi Reb Shimon Paiter shlei yisnadav k'derech hamasnadav mamai. Then we don't understand Reb Shimon that argued on this. Amar Rava. Reb Shimon b'shitas Reb Yosi Amar Damar Af Bigmar Davarav Adamatvis, that a person, you have to look at the whole phrase, and we don't chop it up. So therefore, because in the whole phrase he said a half a yisarin, so we see obviously that he didn't. This is not his intention, and he didn't do it according to the protocol of how a mincha is donated. So therefore, the whole thing is not valid. His expression is not a valid expression. Okay.
Earlier we said that if he says, I'm bringing in a mincha of figs or whatever it is,
So we break it up into two sentences. I'm going to mincha,
Right.
and then we discard the second half.
Right.
And now we're saying
That we look at the whole
we
phrase.
look at the whole phrase.
Yeah, because that's Reb Shimon's opinion. Reb Shimon is the one that says, no, you look at the whole phrase. The dissenting view. Okay, we have a new Mishnah. The Mishnah says, Misnadav an mincha shel shishim isarin. Person can donate a mincha up to 60 isarin. Huge. 60 tenths of an ephah.
Where do you get that
60.
number from?
Let's see. Maybe b'kli echad, and you even bring it in one vessel. You skip this brackets. Imam Hariel I samach aleph. If he says, I'm accepting on myself samach aleph, which means 61. So maybe shishim b'kli echad, v'echad b'kli echad. You bring 60 in one vessel, and you bring the other one in a different vessel. Shekin atzibur maybe b'yamtev harishon shel chag shechol yis b'shabbos shishim v'echad. Because the community brings 61, and dayel yachad shupachas min atzibur echad. And the individual should be at least one less than the community. How does the community bring 61? Well, on the first day of Sukkot, there's 13 cows. Each cow is 3 isarin. Each cow needs a minchas nesachim together with it. So 13 times 3 is 39. Then on the first day of Sukkot, we're continuing, also he needs to bring 14 sheep. So 14 sheep would be 1 sheep, 1 isarin per sheep. So it's 39 plus 14 is 53. Then he has to bring 2 rams. A ram has 2 isarin. So 2 rams is 4. So that's 57. Then he also has 2 carbon tamids that he brings along. And he also has 2 carbon musafs. And both of those are sheep. So there's 4 more. So 57, that's why 61. So that's where we get that from. And he says the back that so the community needs to have 61, an individual should only be 60. Amar Reb Shimon v'layelu leparim ve'elu lekvasim. Ve'ena nevlam zemza. What are you saying? This number 61. They have no connect. Yeah, you added up a full day's karbanis, but they don't go in the same keli. There's no connection. The reason is totally different, because 60 can mix. You can't mix it. Rashi says it's according to Rabbi ben Yaakov that holds that you never increase the amount of oil. So you can't get more oil. You can't mix the oil into more than 60. Amrulai. They told to Reb Shimon, Shishim Neblam, Shisha Echad Ein Neblam. This is the big question in halacha. People that aren't observant, they ask this question like this. And it's interesting that the sages are asking this. So if you're talking about something natural, so 60 mixes and 61 doesn't mix. It's one more.